Hello and welcome to One United. My name is Paritosh Joshi, and along with Wali Siddiqui and Anshuman Joshi, I'm here for One United talking about the AS Roma game, the Liverpool game of Manchester United. We had a win against Roma, a 6-2 demolition of Roma, and everyone's happy, I think. Wali, Anshuman, the Roma game, a
Yep,
big win. What are your thoughts about it?
loved every bit of it. If you ask me, it was a really long time. Like I did watch the Leeds United game, but it didn't have that interest because first and foremost, I was quite focused on the Europa League semi-final between with Roma, and secondly, I wasn't so well either. So I wasn't in the state of mind to actually analyze the game as much. But if you look at yesterday's game, it was fun to watch, and we started off quite well against Roma. And the good thing is that it was high intensity last night. We could clearly see that the first goal that we scored was a stuff of genius, and I think the front three, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and Edison Cavani, were on another level. Brilliant football by these three altogether. And then obviously two schoolboy mistakes, which Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also pointed out. That is something which we expect with United. I think the thing is that we went out there with the mentality of outscoring and scoring as many goals as possible and ending the tie yesterday itself. And as a result of that, we were a little complacent at the back. Uh, Second half, I was a little frustrated after we conceded those stupid goals. I thought probably, yeah, I was confident that we'll win, but I did not think that it would be in such a resounding manner that we'll actually dispatch them. So it was a welcome game. And the second half, Bruno Fernandes was at it. What a finish by Edison Cavani. Beautiful stuff. That was a proper number 9 goal, if you look at the second one. Then if you the way that Paul Pogba was conducting uh, uh, the creativity right at the final third region along with Bruno Fernandes was was something so great to see. The only thing that I had a problem, the only thing which left me frustrated yesterday was Marcus Rashford on the right, and I don't know, something has been wrong with him, and we all know that he's been injured for quite a while, which is why I do not get why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is persisting with him. I honestly feel that he deserves a break. You have Amad Diallo there, you can start him. In fact, even if he played, I think Daniel James, it would have been better because Rashford has been like he hasn't been at his best. So we need to see, and the second, which is why the second leg is all the more important because Rashford should not play that game. Donny Van de Beek should play 90 minutes. Diallo should get a game as well, and it's going to be interesting to see as to how we shape up. But it was an amazing game. We needed that win, and the final thing that I would like to add is that I honestly feel that we're too good for the Europa League, but we also need to be a club that is now quite serious in the Champions League, and we need to go to the distance in that as well because this is a semi-final that we're talking about. This isn't the round of 16 or anything else, and we comfortably beat Roma. So if we could do this, we have the tools. We can definitely go the distance in the Champions League, not as in win the trophy, but actually make a mark for ourselves. We're not that far off, I believe. A couple of players, especially in central midfield, and I think we would be there.
Okay, so a quite positive response from Wali. Quite happy with the form. Anshuman, what are your thoughts about the Roma game?
Yeah, it was a very enjoyable match. It was lovely to see Pogba, Cavani, and Bruno linking up the way they did. And I think Wally pointed that thing out that it wasn't as much as individual performances that won us the game. It was like a lot of players doing their bit and contributing towards United scoring 6 goals like we did. And look, we scored 6 goals, they scored two. So at the end of the day, you can say that this was a very convincing performance. And we scored more goals against Roma once again. But in the first half, it did get slightly frustrating because that first
Yeah.
goal was absolutely fantastic. But then we concede a penalty, and I'm sure Wally would have seen this as well. That the goal that we scored, we conceded the second goal, the Edin Dzeko goal. It was again a low cross to the far post.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So if you want to nitpick, you could always look at the United's usual problems were hitting us, but it just turned out that Roma already were not in a very decent position. I mean, their investment has not been a lot. Paulo Fonseca has been on the out with his players as well, and the injuries they already had, and then they had more injuries to their players in the very first half. So things were already getting bad towards for them, and I think we just were able to capitalize on it. And lots of positives here because that really done it. That we should consider this semi-final now done and dusted. Because going into the second leg, as much as I can expect Roma to score 4 goals against us, I don't really think they're going to score goals against us without us not replying. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, this tie is done and dusted, and that is something that you cannot say all the time with United, that this is just done and we can just now be happy. So that is a big point here. I think we really need to make sure that Pogba, Cavani, and Bruno stay fit going into the final matches in the Europa League and in the Premier League as well. And Wally pointed out the Rashford thing. I think I agree to a part of it, that he's just knackered at this point. He's just tired. The whole team is tired. Players are in general tired, and person most tired is Marcus Rashford. How much he's playing, how callous United have
Especially
been in
because of the
monitoring
work
his.
ethic. Because of the
Yeah,
work rate in the
because
game
of the
as
work
well.
ethic, he requires a little more man management. I think Oli has done a decent job making sure that he doesn't get injured. But the reports that come out on a weekly basis, that his ankles are so tender that he barely uses any footwear until unless he walks on the pitch. Those aren't really very optimistic in the long run anyway. Because what happens with players
Mm.
like these is they'll get burned out by the time they reach late 20s. And that is not a good
Yeah.
sign for him in general. But yeah, we'll see what becomes of it. And also, he didn't perform well on the right last night because he's not a right-sided player. So again, that harks back to United not really having a right-sided player. And once again, on that note, Greenwood came back and Greenwood scored. So I'm really happy that the good performance that he has been giving are now precipitating into goals. And you can see how much Cavani has helped Greenwood, uh, also operating from the right-hand side, and how much we will need someone like Cavani when Greenwood makes his transition from the right-hand side to the central part. So yeah, a very optimistic performance, and I
Yeah.
think we are finally on our way to break the semi-final curse.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next part of our conversation, and that is this the confirmation of Ole's first final with United? Because the way things stand right now, United do have a four-goal cushion in the semi-final of the Europa League. The next leg, I think, for me, it's just a formality right now. United should be going through easily against Roma, because Roma don't look like a side that can defend well. Uh, I'd like to talk to Anshuman first here. That is this going to be Ole's first final with United, or do you think there is a comeback for Roma at hand?
No, well, like I just pointed out, I mean, as much as they can score goals against us and they can win the second leg for all I care, but I don't think they're going to score 4 goals against us and United won't give a reply. So, yeah, I
Hmm.
think we have a great chance here because our second position is not done and dusted in the league as well. So, United might want to take care of that because the league will be over before you get to play the UEL final. And now that you have done most of your business in the first leg, this is just as much clear. All United need is a professional performance like we have shown against Sociedad, or we have shown against Granada. Like, you just go, make sure that nothing major happens, and just move to the next round.
Okay, Wally, do you think this is going to be the first final for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with United?
I'll make it short and simple, of course. And I honestly, I don't even believe that we're going to lose there. I feel that we're going to get the win over here because Roma have been really poor for some odd reason. And even if you look at the standings in La Serie A, they've conceded like one of the most goals, the seventh in the league. And yesterday, you could clearly see that the defense was completely out of shape. After conceding like 5 goals, the sixth goal that Greenwood scored, where was the defense? I honestly could not see that. So that was something which was quite shambolic, and it was as if we were facing an 10-man Southampton. It was as easy as that game. So I honestly do not feel that Roma have a chance. And yeah, this has to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first final with United, which is great.
Okay, so a positive response from Anshu and Wali. You both seem quite content right now with the performance of United. And now I'll take a comment. Okay, SVG, my friend Sabage is here. He says, One United is back. Yes, One United is back with another podcast. Thank you for subscribing to anybody who's subscribing, anybody who's watching. Thank you. We appreciate all the things that you comment. Please, if you are watching, do comment on the live chat. We take live comments as well. I'll move on to the next bit, and that is Cavani's contract extension. We've talked about it, and there is this there's this strong rumor that's going around that he has finally agreed to a contract extension with the Manchester United, and that it could be uh, easily announced by the end of next week. I'll talk to Wali first about it. Wali, what do you think about the rumor going around that Cavani has extended his contract?
Well, it'll be great. First and foremost, I remember when he signed for us on the transfer deadline day, and there weren't quite a lot of positive fans, and they were saying that there wasn't a need to sign Edison Cavani. But I actually was quite pleased, even though I'm a big Anthony Martial fanboy. You all know that, but I was actually
Hmm.
quite pleased that he's coming in because he is way better than Odion Igalo, and I did not want Anthony Martial to go off the bench and Odion Igalo coming in. I wanted someone who could actually inspire Martial and the rest of the teammates, a proven goal scorer. And that is exactly what Edison Cavani is. He scored in the big stages. He scored in the World Cup. He scored in the Champions League. You name it. He is one heck of a prolific striker. We are finally getting to see that in a United jersey. And even though, if you look at his performances throughout, and we thought that it might not be as convincing. He had his bits and pieces. He moments against Southampton. He had a few goals, but now, if you look at it, at the final frontier of the season, he's finally coming to his coming on to his coming to his usual best, and he's actually showing us like what we were missing. If you talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, that is something which we're getting right now. If you talk about Robin van Persie, that is something which we're getting right now. Even the scrappy goal that he scored against Roma yesterday, the through the Van Bissaka assist, it's quite rare that today's centre forwards are actually popping inside the box at such positions. Even though it's a simple thing to do, but it can actually be quite complicated. So this is something which Cavani is doing uh, gracefully. He is also guiding the likes of Mason Greenwood, and he needs to get a contract extension for a year at least. And yeah, my priority is that yeah, he should stay. But at the same time, our centre forwards, as Greenwood and Martial, have to step up because if Cavani can do this at the age of 34, then definitely you have the potential to do even better. So let's just hope for the best that he stays. And I need the fans in the stadium to actually watch that iconic celebration of Edison Cavani and sing his song because right now it feels a little bit too empty. And whenever
Yeah,
he brings out that arrow, it doesn't feel as nice as it should. So I just hope that
yeah.
the fans are back at the ground to see the legend actually scoring goals for us.
Yeah, it's been more than a year now that we've seen fans back at the stadium, back at Old Trafford, especially because the environment is quite special, and we all want that. Anshuman, what are your thoughts about the Cavani contract extension rumor, and how what do you think? How much is going to be the extension if it's a strong possibility?
I mean, it's not an extension that has come abruptly. I mean, when he signed the contract was a 1+1. So this was basically
Yeah.
the case of convincing him to stay for another year. And
Mm.
I think a couple of Uruguayan journalists and they're very reliable sources. They are the same people who broke the story that he was not happy here and he wanted to go back. He was missing his
Yeah, yeah,
family. And they are the
yeah.
same people who are saying that he has now been convinced and an announcement is imminent. So on
Mm.
that, if that is true, and if he does decides to stay for another year, that's fantastic. Because I
Mm.
remember we were discussing Cavani's arrival when it was made official on the podcast. I was the first
Yeah,
one to point out and say that I wasn't very optimistic because the
yeah,
Cavani was someone who was being touted for Atletico Madrid for
yeah,
first half of the transfer window, and for the remainder, he was almost certain to go to Benfica, and this just came out
yeah,
of nowhere. So I was worried where our transfer strategy was going at the time. We were going for Sancho, and then ended up giving the 7 number
mm.
jersey to the 33-year-old. I was worried about his injury record. I was worried about whether,
Yeah,
without the lack of a right-sided player, if he'll able to bring a lot on the pitch at this age with this injury record, will he be able to sustain the physicality of the Premier League? And suffice to say, I've been proved wrong on all the fronts. He has been absolutely fantastic. He's been offering off the ball movement, and he's also offering a lot of on control in the link up play especially that we saw last night, and
yeah,
that's absolutely fantastic. And we see the progress that Mason Greenwood is making alongside him, and we see how crucial someone like Cavani is being. His work ethic has been absolutely fantastic for us, and there
yeah.
have been injuries. He has been getting the sporadic injuries on and off the pitch, but I think over the past 1 month or two, Solskjaer has been able to maintain him quite a lot. As you will see that he always, even if he starts Cavani in a match in the Premier League, he always gets him off by 60 to 70 minutes. So that kind of man
Mm.
management has been there, and injuries don't really look like that much of a problem. So as far as I'm concerned, how many years we can get Cavani at this level, the way he's going, is absolutely fantastic. Because he will also help Greenwood, and he will also help Martial because he'll also get the kick up the proverbial backside
Yeah,
to keep performing. Because this has been slightly underwhelming season from Martial, given the way he ended the last one. So yeah, Cavani, it's like now looking likely that he's going to stay, and he's the first man since Cristiano Ronaldo to do that number 7 jerseys any kind of justice. So
Justice,
he
yeah.
is someone who deserves to know how much the United fans love him, and I just hope that before the season ends, the current plan is that fans will be allowed into stadium. So I'd be so happy if you could just get a glimpse of that, and let's hope that
Because
Will
even
he
if
be
it's
allowed
not
soon?
soon, we'll see a
I
full
saw
Old
an
Trafford as
update.
well.
I saw an update about the coronavirus situation in UK that the pandemic is done and dusted, and there is only 1 in 40,000 chance that you will get COVID in UK. I'm not sure, but I read
Let's
this
move to the
somewhere.
UK, man.
I mean, it's not
Uh,
Let's move to the
dusted,
UK.
but their vaccination drive and the situation is
but
quite
yeah,
under
yeah.
control. So
Matlab,
yeah,
matlab
they are
it's
on
like
the up
it's
again.
almost done. It's almost done.
So
Matlab
like when are the fans going to be
the
allowed in?
pandemic bit is it
So
is
match day
possible that the
36 and
last 2 weeks.
37 has currently been targeted as the
Yeah,
match
yeah,
week in which fans will be reintroduced. I mean, this is the first time in the if you watched in the Carabao Cup final, you had 4,000 fans in Wembley.
yeah.
So that was the first one in three to
4,000
four
or
months because
8,000?
I think back in December they decided once again they
4,000 or
introduced the
8,000?
fans into the stadia. Yeah. So in
Uh,
November or December they did that, but the COVID situation got much worse. So they
Hmm.
scrapped the
yeah.
whole thing. The whole country went into lockdown for a couple months, but since the vaccine has rolled out, things have been much better. So hopefully they will not have another wave. And given the situation we are in right now, we can all but hope that does not happen. So yeah, on the Cavani front, that is all that we have to say. That and if he stays, that's fantastic. And his reasons for leaving also very
Yeah,
sympathetic. I mean, he was missing his family. It was an environment that he had come to that he couldn't speak the language and get the culture. With the weather in Manchester, we all know how it goes. It's not for everyone. So yeah, that was you could completely sympathize with a man like he's a family man, and he's staying away from his family was not easy for anyone, given especially in these situations. Yeah, that was also sympathetic. So whatever happens with Kawan, he has been a fantastic servant for us, and I'll be absolutely delighted if he stays for another year.
Okay. Wally, you're having the same thoughts. I pretty much want Cavani to extend his contract because not for the kind of player he adds on in himself with the amount of goals he brings in, but the kind of work ethic and the professionalism he portrays for the younger players who are coming in, especially someone like Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood, who have someone to look up to. And that's why I was also complacent about the Ronaldo transfer because I think what I read somewhere was he was available for something like 35 or 20, 35 million, which I don't think is a possibility. But if we get him for 35 million, I think that's quite good. There are some comments coming in. Meme God says, "How many goals did Edinson Cavani score?" Uh,
Double figures, I
in
guess.
12 as of last night.
5 goals
yeah,
now. That's
12
good.
goals in all
and
competitions as of
12
last night.
last night, 12 goals all competition as of last night. Zarif Mamun
And he's
says
also been injured for quite some time.
signing has been done. Which signing? Said to be announced next week. I think he's talking about the Cavani. Yes.
Cavani.
So the Cavani meme god says Wally looks serious. Wally, why do you look so serious?
No, I was serious a week back. I'm little better now.
Be-
So
because
yeah.
of the health issues. Yeah. So
Yeah, because
anyone
of the
who's
health issues.
watching and you don't know, I think we all three went through COVID, and we are all better now. That's why we have come in more consistently with the
Yep.
podcast. Nayab Karim has commented. He has said, as a mentor, Cavani needs to stay. He's a positive influence to all the young strikers in the squad. Exactly my point. I also believe that Cavani, not only as a player himself with the goals and assists that he is adding, just as a professional, as a football player, the amount of impact that he has had on the youngsters, that is quite remarkable, and people have someone to look up to. Meme God says, nice try. Thank you very much, Meme God. Thank you for the compliment. I'll shift the conversation now and I'll talk about the infamous United player who we United fans sometimes love to hate and hate to love. It's Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba must stay is the conversation right now, and we're going to talk about it. Wally, you are quite a Paul Pogba fan right now because of the performances. You have changed your WhatsApp DP to his photo. What are your thoughts about Paul Pogba?
Well, I just love the guy. I've always loved the guy ever since he made his move to Manchester United, and it's been quite emotional for us Paul Pogba fans as well, because the criticism that he's got, I feel that it has been like if we just talk about his game of football, then it's been a little bit out of context. That is something which I do not agree with. Yes, whatever is happening outside of the field regarding his agent, that is something which he needs to get criticized for. But when people talk about him being overrated, not influencing the game, etc., etc., for those people, I just want to say that the football is not just about goals and assists. All right, you need to understand where the guy is playing. You need to understand what his preference is, where he wants to play. Under Mourinho, he was playing deep, and then you had who else after Mourinho? We immediately got a spat with Mourinho. He was happy with him, then he wasn't so happy with him, and then when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, he played him at the number 10 position, and at the number 10 position, he had unreal numbers. Both goals and assists were in double figures, but we didn't talk about it as much. And even under Mourinho in the Europa League, he was a player of the tournament in that. So basically, we haven't celebrated him as much as we should have. And then when Bruno Fernandes came in, people started drawing in comparisons and saying that we do not need Paul Pogba at all now that we have Bruno Fernandes. Well, this season we saw when Paul Pogba got injured how much we missed him. The creativity
Yeah.
was definitely was something which wasn't there at all. And now we are actually playing the best football when you have the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Edison Cavani, Marcus Rashford, and Paul Pogba up front. It's something which is needed, and Paul Pogba is such a talented footballer that you can fit him anywhere. But I honestly do
Mm.
not believe that his position is in the central, in the midfield pivot along with Fredo McTominay. He needs to be higher up the pitch. Defensive duties is something which I do not expect from him. Even last night, even though I did not agree that it wasn't a penalty, but
Yeah.
defensively, we all know Paul Pogba can be a little sloppy. So this is something which we want to avoid. We want him to be as advanced as possible. And even though Marcus Rashford has had a good season, but you can clearly see the difference between Marcus Rashford on the left and Paul Pogba on the left, the creativity that we have. So it's good to see that he's been performing quite well. This season has been amazing. Kudos to Solskjaer for managing him as well. He's been managing him quite well, and it's been quite positive. And yes, I hope that he wins us another trophy. He won us the Europa League as well. I hope he does. He has a potential. And you have your best players. Genie, us fans, we need to realize who our best players are. Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba and Edison Cavani are in that category. We do not need to divide them. We do not need to say that yeah, we have this guy, so we don't need him. If we play our best players, we'll win most number of games, and that is exactly what happened yesterday.
Okay, Anshuman, what are your thoughts about Paul Pogba, and do you think he should stay or not?
Well, it's complicated, and the reason for that is, look, when he made those comments, when Mino Raiola made those comments about so United and Solskjaer and why Pogba should be leaving. We all came here, we all had a good big podcast, and I launched into a 15-minute rant that I don't think no one ever wants to hear again. But I basically said, gave a whole account of what has been going on with Pogba and what should be going on with Pogba. And that Mike, I think, first of all, what Wally said, a lot of credit to Solskjaer, because what happened in that moment where Raiola came out and we all just launched into Pogba, the whole fan base launched into Pogba and said you should be taken out of the side. This is not how you disrespect the club. You cannot do this. Any manager would have ostracized a player, and they would not have been given any kind of blame, because you cannot have that as a
Yeah.
fan. You cannot have that, right? But credit to Solskjaer, and we talked about this at the time, and Wally has pointed this out again, that he must have had a conversation with Paul, and he would have asked him, "What do you want to do? Even if you want to leave, you're going to do that in summer. What are you going to do that till then? Because you're going to have to make yourself available to these clubs that you want to go." So that I'm pretty sure that has happened, because Oli has proved that his man management skills are one of the very best, if its tactics are not. So great kudos to them. Paul Pogba in the past 5 months have played some of his best football for Manchester United. And I think personally the reason for that is that he has had a lot of more clearer conversations with his manager. That was obviously not the case in Mourinho. He also pointed that out a couple of weeks ago when he had that interview with Sky. So I think that is the kind of person he is. He likes to express himself on and off the pitch, and he couldn't care less about what people think of him. And that's what he's been doing while he plays. He's been expressing himself. He has been absolutely fantastic. Do I love Paul? Yes, absolutely. Do I want him to stay and start for Manchester United? Yes, absolutely. Now, let come to the logistics of the situation. He's 28 years of age. Is he going into his last year of his contract? And by all accounts, he is asking for a wage rise. And the number that has been touted about is 500k, 500,000 pounds a week. Now, I cannot, as a Manchester United fan, in good faith, recommend anyone to go, any player to be given 500k. And we broached on this subject last week as well. A few days ago, as we were talking about the Barca situation and how Messi is
Yeah.
earning 1.2 million a week and how Griezmann is getting 800k a week. No player, no player, how much, doesn't matter how crucial that player is, can be big enough for you that you start giving them contracts of that degree that they skew the wage bill, because that's what happens. You give one player 500k and then other players will start popping up that he's getting 500k, I at least deserve 400k. So
I
that is
think
already a
I
disaster.
I think we saw that with Andre Herrera's situation when Alexis Sanchez was in the side. That Alexis Sanchez was earning
Yeah,
upwards of 450k.
400.
Then when he asked for around 250, I think
250 hours.
250k, I think he asked for. Yeah, so that looked like a massive deal to many fans, but I don't think he was being out of order, because if you can pay 450 for Alexis Sanchez to do nothing for you, and Herrera was a
Yeah,
crucial player for your midfield. So
true.
that's what happens, because some players like if Donny Van de Beek plays a out of his skin season next season, he'll also ask for a wage rise. Bruno Fernandes will ask for a wage rise. Marcus Rashford will say, okay, if you're willing to pay Paul Pogba 500k, let me have 475 or 500. Okay, so that is not a situation you can have going forward. I completely agree with you on that.
Mhm. So yeah, that wage situation is also complicated. And the other reason why I didn't want why I didn't want Pogba to stay is that not because I have anything against him, but because we have always misused him. We always talk about how to unlock him, bring players about
Yeah,
him. You don't unlock Paul Pogba. You just let him do his thing, and look what he does right now. Solskjaer has given him the very position that he wants him.
freedom.
He plays in the midfield. He plays from the left hand side. If he's playing in the front three, he plays on the left wing. So that is the place he likes to operate from. And that is what we've seen. When you let him do his thing, he's absolutely fantastic. And from a playing point of view, I want him to stay. I want him to start every fucking match. But from a logistics point of view, at the end of the day, I'm a Manchester United fan. I will not make any unreasonable demands as to give this player 1 million, 2 million, 3 million a week just so that he stays. No, I cannot do that. In good faith, I cannot do that. So if his wage demands are going to be 500k, then I'm going to say thank you for your services, but it's time to move. Go to a club like Real Madrid, who have already spoiled their situation, so much so that they wanted to create a breakaway league because of the wage structure that they have. We don't want any of that. That is, from a logistical point of view, is going to be my
Yeah,
recommendation. What I think would happen because of COVID is that what we saw with Bice contract, that instead of getting a long-term contract, he was given a 3+1 contract. That is
yeah.
just asset protection, because you want to keep a center back because you don't know if you're going to get one in the summer. So at least want to hold the one you have. And if it doesn't work out in 1.5 years, you can sell the guy. That's how asset
So
protection works. Same
I
thing
think
can happen.
Pogba, with Pogba's situation, the 3-year contract would be suffice. So when he is 30, we can still
That is
assess
a
the situation,
possibility
and
now.
yeah,
That is the
yeah.
possibility now with
The
COVID, because otherwise, what would have
okay.
happened? He's 28.
Uh,
Raiola would have told him,
uh,
"Look, you can go to a big club, get a 5-year contract, get a mammoth wage cut, because this is good. This is going to be his next final big contract. Whatever he gets, the
yeah.
5-year contract, that's what he was going to get." Now, what Raiola might be telling him is that, "Look, it's COVID. You look the clubs
Mm,
around you; they are bankrupt. No one is going to pay you the money that United are. But if you stay at
yeah.
United, you're not going to get a depreciation. You're not going to get a demotion. You're at least going to get what you get and slightly more. So instead of getting a 5-year contract, let's say get a 2+1 or a 3. And if it doesn't
Mm.
work out for you again, then we can sell you. And
Yep.
whatever money that goes against that, any, because United, this is the United's only summer that they can get any money out of Paul Pogba, the 60 million euro amount that we were talking about. If Pogba stays, then that money is not going to go to United, and every single penny
But
that does
if
not go to Pogba's transfer fees will go to his wage. So it works out for him. It works out for him. So I don't really
the 60
I
million
see
figure,
Raiola will work.
the 60 million figure you're talking about, I have certain questions about that, because we are saying 60 million, but this summer we have Euros. So that is going to influence a lot of transfers, how the summer goes for many players. But I have some questions. We haven't taken questions. I have two questions.
Yeah,
Nayab Karim says, heard that Pogba was fasting while playing the previous match. Hats off. Yes,
yeah.
I heard this as well, that he
Yeah.
was fasting because of the Ramadan, and then he ate after the final whistle, and then went for the after match post match interview. So that's quite amazing, and his especially the Muslim community was quite impressed with the kind of work ethic and the kind of commitment he had. towards football and towards his faith as well. Meme God says, "What's the update on Scott McTominay? Do you have any information on Scott
Yeah,
McTominay?"
he's still crap.
He,
That's my
Come
update.
okay,
on.
Scott
I
McTominay is a
honestly don't
decent
like the
player,
guy.
man. Come on, you don't like
Yeah, but
Scott
the thing is,
McTominay?
we can do better, man. We can have someone like an
Come on,
N'Golo
man.
Kante or someone.
You were,
That's something I
come
want.
on. Why
That's
do you
something I
want to?
aspire for.
Why do you want to be Chelsea's old age home? We have already
No, I
housed
don't want to be.
Mata,
I'm just
Matic.
giving an example. We can definitely do better than a Fred or a Scott McTominay right now. If we do that,
Okay,
we'll be going levels next season.
Scott McTominay. I don't. I don't think there is some any update right now. I'm looking at
Yeah,
it
he's
and
fine. What happened to
nothing.
him? He's fine. I don't think
I think
anything
some
happened.
injury issues. Some injury issues. I'm
Is
not
there?
sure. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think he's fine.
I
Okay,
certainly did not hear anything.
whatever. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's move on. And we move on to the final segment, and that is the Liverpool game. Manchester United versus Liverpool in the Premier League on the 2nd of May, 9 p.m. IST. Again, a big game, and a game you want to win. Liverpool are down bad in this season, and you can expect to exact revenge. And finally have a lasting impression over Klopp and the Liverpool fans. Wali, what are your thoughts about the Liverpool game that Manchester United have to play on the 2nd of May?
Well, first and foremost, I'm glad that Liverpool season is over. They can't win shit this season. They can't win the Premier League. They can't even qualify for the top four, I guess. Probably they can, but I don't think so they will. And it's going to be a good game. It's going to be something. It's going to be one of those rare Manchester United versus Liverpool games that you could actually sit back, relax, and enjoy. You won't have much stress in contrast to the previous fixtures. That is something which I'm actually anticipating. And another thing is that we could expect a good game of football, free flowing game of football now that it's pretty much sealed that we are in the Champions League next season. So I just hope that it's going to be a statement win because we are pretty much in the finals of the Europa League. We need to win as many big games as possible. We won against Tottenham, we won against Roma. If we win against Liverpool, that will be another major confidence booster for the fixtures remaining, and it's going to be a good one. And Klopp, yeah, he also has a lot of things to prove at the moment. His players haven't been performing as well. The heroes of last season, you could talk about Sadio Mane, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Only Mohamed Salah is performing, but even the fans aren't as happy as him as they were last season. Roberto Firmino, and then they have their own injury concerns, etc., etc. It's been a poor season for Liverpool, and it's time that we make the most of it. We rub salts on in their wounds because we're pretty much capable of doing it. And if we have a, I think similar, if we play a similar team, and this time I don't want Marcus Rashford to stand on the right. I really hope that it's Mason Greenwood who gets game time because he's been looking as sharp as ever, and on the right he is much more decisive. So let's just hope that it's once again Edison Cavani, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and then you have Mason Greenwood as well. And for some funny reason, I have this gut feeling that Solskjaer might be starting Dan James for defensive prowess, etc. And that is something which I'm not a fan of because we all know that he's also going to start Scott McTominay and Fred, so that's like two extra defensive players as well. So I think we need to take the game by the scruff of the neck. We can actually dismantle Liverpool at will. They are down and out. They do not have anything to play for. They're not motivated at all. And we, on the other
But they'll be
hand,
motivated.
are on
Come
a
on,
yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah, they will
expect
be. But I mean, no,
It's
yeah,
a
but they
United
won't be
game. Come
as.
on, but I am
Yeah,
pretty
that's the
sure.
only
I can.
motivation. That's the only
That's the
motivation, I
motivation you
guess.
need. That's the only motivation
But
you
yeah,
need because you have nothing to
but
play for the season. You have only one thing to play that you can spoil somehow United's chances
yeah,
of the top two, and you can have to say that okay, you had the team running for the Europa League final. We had the worst season we could
hmm,
have possibly after, and still we beat you at Old Trafford. So that is something
yeah,
they would
yeah.
want. That is the
They
motivation
would
they need.
they would want
Liverpool, yeah,
they would definitely
they would
want the
want to have
bragging
that.
rights. They would
Yeah.
want the bragging rights. But I honestly feel that we're on a high, and we can easily get a win over here. I don't think that it should be as problematic as people think it is. I think we can definitely get a comfortable win against our rivals over here.
Okay, so you think it's going to be a comfortable win for United? Anshuman, what are your thoughts about the Liverpool game?
Well, yeah, it's the Super League derby. It's one of the greatest matches you
Hmm.
could ever have, week in, week out.
Super
But
League.
so Liverpool are for sixth in the table. They are 1 point behind West Ham in fifth, and 4 points behind Chelsea
Do
in
you
fourth.
think they are going for the
So
top
as
four? Do you think they're going to finish top four?
they
Do you
have
think they
to,
are
they have
qualifying?
to, they have
They have
absolutely
to.
no other choice because a club like Liverpool, they
No,
need
they
the
have
Champions
to.
League money to
Obviously,
sustain.
they have to. But do you think? Make a
But will
prediction. Do
they?
you think will they
I
or
don't
not?
think so. I don't
They
think so.
can, they can, and
Chelsea, you
I
think Chelsea
think
will
the
slip off?
reason for
I
that,
know they
the reason
can.
for
They
that.
can. Do you think they will or
But like,
they
who
won't?
will slip
Tell me
off,
this.
according to
Yeah.
you?
Leicester can
Who do you
slip
think?
off, and the reason for that is they are yet to play all the big players. They yet to play us. They yet to play City. So if there is
Hmm.
anyone out there who's capable of slip off, it's Leicester. West Ham, as good as they have been playing, their squad is very thin right now. They
But
are getting suspensions.
even if okay, so even if they lose two games to us and
Mhm,
City, okay, they are at 62 in 33 games, and Liverpool are at I think 54 in 33 games. So if
mhm,
even if they lose two games, that is like 6 points.
mhm,
So and Liverpool for Liverpool, but they'll have to win every game, and that is
yeah.
also not a possibility. That is going to be easy for them because they play United, then they play. I think
They have Leicester, I guess.
they have Burnley. They have Burnley. Uh,
Mhm,
they have Burnley, West Brom. These are the games they have, and Burnley have been
mhm,
Burnley are struggling. I'm not gonna lie, but Burnley are a side that can topple
But
this Liverpool
yeah,
side. Yeah, so they
I don't
have
think they'll
some
make it.
tricky games. Especially because Liverpool will have to win every game, and that is not what I think is going to happen. Even if Leicester slip off, even if they lose,
mhm.
and I don't think they'll lose against City and United.
Actually,
I
Leicester
think
is
they can
playing
draw.
well. So
Like Leicester is playing very well. I'll always prefer Leicester to Liverpool, and that is my situation with Liverpool because and Liverpool are in a very tough spot. For Liverpool, they have to beat United, and that's why I feel that this is going to be either a draw or Liverpool are going. It can be a 1-0 or 2-1 kind of game for Liverpool because they will play for their lives now. Because
definitely.
the stakes for Liverpool are very high. If they don't qualify for the Champions League, okay, imagine the scenario. They have a Sadio Mane, which is not the same price as it was last year, just after their Premier League win or the Champions League win. They have a Mohamed Salah who is a prolific goal scorer, but he is also not the player that could extract you 100 million euros like the last season or the season prior to that because of the season they had currently and because of the COVID situation. Roberto Firmino, again, no questions. So they need money. That's the first thing they need because this is going to be some major changes are going to be there for Liverpool, especially because of the season that they had. And if they don't qualify for the Champions League, that is going to be so detrimental for them, especially coming off on the back of a Champions League victory and a Premier League victory, because they were finally
Yep.
seeing things on the up. They were finally like, okay, we are getting back to the glory days, and this is going to be a hard fallback for them. So I think Liverpool will have more motivation than United to win the game.
Yeah, that's true. And in this moment right now, even though Liverpool win all their games, they have to depend on other teams to slip
Yeah,
up massively.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they have. I mean, you have pretty much be on spot for that. So there's a very slight chance that they could do that. But yeah, it's mostly that it's mostly an outside possibility. And as Manchester United fans, obviously, will be very much delighted if they don't make it to the Champions League and go to the Conference League, the first one next season. And the thing
Conference,
with
yeah, because the
Liverpool,
Europa is not going to be there next season. The Conference League is going to be
Europa
there.
is
Yeah,
there. There is another competition now. There's Europa
It's for
Conference League
seventh, I guess.
from next year onwards.
It's for seventh place. Yeah.
It's for
What is the
seventh. And yeah, I
situation with
thought
that? What is the situation
so.
with that?
The seventh place team instead of going to Europa will now play in Europa Conference. That's the
Okay,
situation.
Basically, that's
Europa
where Arsenal
Conference.
will be for the next 3-4 years.
Come on, man. But what is it? Are they going to let them qualify for the Europa League after that? What is the situation? I'm not aware of it.
Why would they let them qualify for Europa League?
No, they'll
The
be in the
Europa
Conference
Conference.
League.
What
They'll be
is the
now
Europe? What is the
three
conference?
The
different
Europa
leagues.
Conference is just a third competition that UEFA has created, which is not for the likes of Premier League teams. It's for the like of your Romanian teams, your Estonian teams, to give more
Okay,
and
okay,
more
okay.
teams who have slightly
Third
lesser
tier, basically.
coefficient. But
Okay,
Premier League
acha,
teams do
acha, acha.
qualify, so one team will be there.
Okay, to qualify, and I think they were going to lessen the amount of clubs in the Europa League and let them play in the
Yeah.
Conference League. That is going to be the situation, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
well.
So that can be the situation for Liverpool. Do you think Liverpool can play in the Conference League now, not the Champions
Hmm.
League?
Because no,
That
even
would
if
be
you look
amazing.
beyond Liverpool, you have the likes of
Not
Tottenham and
Tottenham.
Everton, whoever
Tottenham,
with
yeah,
an outside
Tottenham.
chance for a top seven finish.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we are saying that Liverpool could have an outside chance or top four, they are more likely to end up seventh right now.
Because
So that
I
can
think
also happen. That will be very
Everton do have played a game less and they are 2 points behind. If
yeah.
they win, they'll move over Liverpool, I think.
Yep. So
So
that's an interesting
that
end to the season.
that's
But
going to
yeah,
be
like you've
interesting. Yeah.
said, that Liverpool have more reasons to play tomorrow better. But on
Yeah.
paper, if there was ever a chance for Manchester United to show Liverpool that we are the better team right now, it will be this match. And the only and thing with United is Leicester are playing in like less than an hour now. They are playing Southampton. And if they win, they'll go to 65 points, and United are on 67 points. And if United really care about maintaining a top two finish, and for the sake of the optics, United are going to have to give some kind of a performance against Liverpool. And the recent matches have been very disappointing nil-nil wins, most of them anyway.
Yeah.
So that seems like a likely situation. Like if Liverpool are not able to break United, but then the
Hmm.
United will just sit back what we did against Leeds. The interesting thing with Liverpool is that pressing system that they have, it works brilliantly if everyone's in on it, but Liverpool's player have not been in on it. So what happens is when you are making those high pressing systems, and Liverpool are relentless with their pressing, it's just one system that they have. They hardly have a plan B or a plan C. So when that does not work, it gives you a lot of spaces to run into. So someone like Pogba or Bruno could just ping balls into Cavani, who will be taking care of that spaces. Obviously, he will. So that is a very interesting prospect. And like Wally said, I will not be surprised if Fred and McTominay start again. So but yeah, again, like Wally said, I want Rashford to get some rest. He does not need to play in this match because even if we lose, it's not the end of the world. And any kind
Yeah.
of break that we can give him is absolutely vital. I would again add to that and say play Van de Beek also, but I don't think that is happening until unless we get a proper number six in. Just my theory at this point.
So
So
there
yeah,
is this
it's a very
situation.
likely
There is
situation that it could be just
Anshuman.
nil-nil. Mhm,
Anshuman, there is this situation with Van de Beek because Van de Beek was
mhm,
brought on as the kind of guy who would directly replace Paul Pogba because Paul Pogba was to be sold in this summer. If Paul Pogba
mhm,
stays, what is going to be the situation with Van de Beek? That is also going to be interesting.
mhm. I think when he was signed, we discussed about it, and I said that he has played as a number six and played as a number center back as well. So he's that kind of all rounder player that can just play any role you would give him. But
So
as it has
you
turned
think,
out, Oli really doesn't trust him with that kind of roles. So I think
yeah,
what's going to happen
Scott
is that
McTominay and
even if
Fred,
Van de Beek,
the
yeah.
Fred
So
situation.
with Van de Beek, I just realized,
Hmm.
I just think that you need a number six, a proper
Hmm.
number six. And Fred and McTominay are not those players. Matic is that kind of
Hmm.
player, but he cannot play in, week out. So we need a number six who can sit on the bed, on the bed of that
Hmm.
midfield, so that the remaining two midfielders can just push upwards. And Van de Beek is the kind of player who absolutely exploits spaces, gets into the box very late. And here's the thing, a very off the pitch thing about the young Ajax players who have been transferred out after their semi-final run. Matthias de Ligt went to the Juve, had a very average first season, and this season his performances have been better, although he
No, no,
has
he has
been
been
suffering
quite
from
good.
injuries, but the
He's,
performances have improved.
but yeah, he has
Frankie de
been good.
Jong, first season was bang average. It was a very
Hmm.
disappointing season. This season, he's been one of the most important players, and he's been playing as an auxiliary center back in a back three, who also plays an
ZH.
advanced role. Uh, the situation with ZH is slightly different because these are
Because
young
he's a
guys, and
quite
ZH is
older.
28.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
ZH is a
28.
quite
So
older
by
guy.
the time he left, he was already a finished article, and he just wanted to
Hmm.
get a big club move. And I was very thrilled for ZH anyway. So yeah, he's also set to come good again.
So do you
And
think
Frankie
do
De
you
Jong
think
is
Van de Beek can play the kind of role that someone like Tony Cruz or Xavi Alonso played for Real Madrid,
Definitely.
or the kind of role he played for Bayern Munich, Xavi Alonso? Do you think that is the kind of role
they
he's
are
targeting?
two they are two completely different kind of players because he's the kind of player who works well in tight spaces. He moves
One
around a
touch
lot.
passing. Yeah.
He's very
No,
good
no,
with
because
those one touch passing.
I obviously we know that Van de Beek is quite good in the box and he can play more of a cam kind of role, the similar role that Bruno plays, and that is the reason that he's not getting as many chances. But what my question was that we can see that he is not replacing Bruno Fernandes in this side until unless Real Madrid or someone come with a huge ass offer and Bruno really wants to move and United are not winning anything. And for that also he'll have to stay for a long while at United Van de Beek. What I am proposing is that Van de Beek, because of uh, the kind of variety that he has shown in his
Mhm.
play and the kind of positions that he has played for, can Ole ask him to play more of that kind of role and shift from that? And maybe this summer is the one where he transforms himself from that to a more of a proper midfield player.
He can, but I don't think he will, because that's
Hmm.
like we already discussed. Is that this is a guy
Because
who
that's
was
not a
also played
natural game.
as
Because
yeah.
that's
So he
not
will
his
just be asked
usual
to play
game.
his natural game, which I think can complement Bruno if he wishes, if Oli wants to, and which is why I keep saying that we need a number six to have those two kind of players on the pitch at the same time.
Hmm. We need a proper CDM like someone like Kante.
Yeah,
Someone like
yeah.
Kante to have a solid around this defensive area. But then also we need a proper center back. So we have some problems to look
We have
forward
those
if
three
we
positions
have.
that we'll be discussing in detail after the season's over. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, I think Liverpool game. We have had a bit of conversation, and I think we have discussed enough. Let's finally get the team lineup and the prediction about the Liverpool game. What do you think is going to be the team lineup and the prediction? Wally, I'll talk to you first. What do you think is going to be the lineup and the score line?
Lineup, okay. Dean Henderson returns at goal, and then you have your Aaron Wan-Bissaka as your right back. Lindelof and Maguire, the usual centre back pairing. Luke Shaw left back, and then
Hmm.
my favorite midfield duo of Fred and McTominay. They of course have to start. And then other than that, you have Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba on the left, Edison Cavani centre forward, and Mason Greenwood on the right. Score, if you ask me the score, I think it's going to be 2-1 in favor of Manchester United.
2-1 for Manchester United. I want to Wally Anshuman. What is your lineup to play against Liverpool and the score prediction?
Yeah, pretty much as Wally said, like Dean Anderson will return, the back four picks itself. There'll be Fred and McTominay, and Bruno will be number 10. Pogba will be from the coming from the left. I would have Cavani, and I would also like to see Mason Greenwood start because he's been form. He deserves more minutes. And
Yeah.
I think United can beat Liverpool, but I think the safer bet is a nil-nil draw.
Okay, a nil-nil draw for you. I also believe it's going to be a draw, but I don't think it's a nil-nil draw. I think there is a 1-1 draw or 2-2 draw at hand because both the sides have weaker defense and both are looking to lead goals at times. And
Ours is
both the
better than
teams
Liverpool right now.
uh, still, but still, the situation with both the teams is that defensive errors are a thing, and I also believe that we expected this from the Leeds game, but Leeds are more complacent than Liverpool. Liverpool are in dire need of the win. They are in dire need of the 3 points, so I think they are going to attack. That is also going to leave them vulnerable from the back. So I believe it's going to be a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 draw. It can also be a Liverpool win. I won't be surprised if it's a Liverpool win. So
If
I
Pogba
think that's
starts on the
that.
left, Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to get destroyed. You just have to pray for him.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm hopeful. Obviously, I want United to win, but the kind of situation that we are in, Liverpool, they've got too much to lose in this game. If they lose this game, their season is done and
They're
dusted.
done. It's done.
That's where my concern is. And Liverpool are a side who are very dogged, and especially with United sides. So that's my whole thing about the game. I think that's that. Any final thoughts before we
And that's
conclude?
it. Let's
Anshuman,
get
any
the
final
win,
thoughts?
man. Let's beat them.
No, no, that will be all. Just take care, guys. Things are out there.
Okay, yeah, it's hard out there, and India is suffering from the second wave, a huge second wave of COVID-19. We are finally recovering a bit. So, yeah, all the best to everyone who's out there having any kind of trouble, and help each other, be with your families. That's all we can do right now. If you like this video, please put a like on it. Comment on the video. What else do you want us to talk about? And if you're expecting any different kind of videos, subscribe to the channel. And you can also DM us at our Instagram handle. The link is in the description. Also, it's One United Podcast on Instagram. So bye bye. I guess it's from me, Partha Joshi, Anshuman Joshi, and Wali Siddiqui. We'll see you on the next podcast.